What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I'm so glad you're here together as we take a look at the markets, as we do what we do every day, right? Every day we get together, we put in the work, and we make sure we take in everything around us so that we're able to keep the perspective we need to stay on the right side of the trade, the most important trade that matters. But Jordan, Bitcoin is utterly bearish. It's got it. Not only is it bearish, what happens next is going to get ugly, Jordan. Right? Bitcoin over here. There's nothing in the way back towards 19 to 17,000. If we break down from over here, that's it. Not only do we probably not even hold the support down over here, we're looking at a massive head and shoulders. It is a massive head and shoulders. And if this breaks down, the price is set to go to about, was that zero or was that negative 4,000? This is over. This is done. How did you get so blindsided? How did it work out, right? Good morning, everyone, by the way. You know what? Here's the truth. You know what? It's nice to be held accountable. It's really nice to be. I didn't really want to be here this morning. Family's out on vacation. We're all having a good time. The market, it's the summer. It's not really doing anything. It's like poke it with the stick, right? And that's why I'm here this morning, because I have a deep commitment to all of you. This is what's important. All of you are so important to me. We're going to take a look at the markets and make sure we put in a fantastic session. We're going to be looking at Bitcoin right now. We're going to start off with Bitcoin because this is what I'm looking at this morning. I'm looking at Bitcoin this morning. Sanjit nailed it. He's like, look at this massively sideways summer break. If Bitcoin's on vacation, why am I here? Right? The next thing I was looking at this morning, this is all like quinky-dinky. Did you notice how salty people are this morning? Did you see how salty people? That was a good sign. When I saw the saltiness of that means to me that people are capitulating. The people, because there are people who have like a very bullish case on Bitcoin. I never met someone who was on the right side of the trade over the past year, as Bitcoin over the past 12 months is up 250%, who is now bearish on Bitcoin. I have yet to meet that person who's on the right side of the trade who has turned utterly bearish on Bitcoin. Now, there are a lot of people who are not participating in the upside, who missed the trade, and they're very bearish on Bitcoin. I don't really, again, you all know, consult those who have a history of being correct. I'm looking at this chart over here from the Rational Root. Remember, we got to sit down with the Rational Root. He provided that laser insight to all of us. And I'm looking, as price goes sideways, potentially how much further we could go sideways. And then I noticed two things on this chart. I'm sure you all noticed the same things that I noticed, but nevertheless, let's talk about them. As it happens, the top lip over here, or just about the top of the lip over here, happens to be where the bear market low is. Y'all remember $50,000? Y'all remember $50,000? And I'm like, you know what? I think this is around the coming bear market low. In that context, 55,000 Bitcoin is cheap. In what context, Jordan? In where the cycle peak will be for this bull market and where the coming bear market low will be. We'll see. Look, this is just past behavior. It's all we have to look at. It's not that because something happened in the past that it's going to repeat itself. However, the premise when this trade was opened up in 2019 is that it's sure going to rhyme. How is it rhyming right now, and what is different? The second thing that I noticed on this chart that is quite different is that both of these during their consolidation periods, by the way, the 2013 bull market had a much longer consolidation phase than the 2017 bull market by a factor of 4 times as long, almost 3.5, right? But the upside was significantly greater. Actually, it was 3 times greater. Wow. So you're telling me it was 3 times greater to the upside right over here during the bull market, mania phase. And you're looking at about 3.5 times longer consolidation. Well, we all know the longer the consolidation. This is going back to William O'Neill, CanSlim, stock market, many legends trading the strategy, knowing that you're looking for the longer the base, the bigger the race, right? And here we see that taking place over there. And then this one, this was still a massive mania phase, by the way. Don't discount it. But these two both have this major capitulation event. You can see in the middle, they both have this major capitulation event. And this one is different in the fact that it's going sideways. It's going sideways now for quite a while. Now, it makes sense to me that so far how long this is consolidating sideways happens to be an average of these two. And we all know why, because, this trajectory is an average of these two as well, right? And, the volatility of the upside, the volatility of the downside, and now the sideways all is both an average of these two. Does it beg to reason that coming out of here, being that the consolidation is longer than this one, right? Probably shorter than this one, because I do not think that we match the mania that occurred in 2013. Anything's possible. But it looks like that is where we're headed. What happens about the capitulation event? This is what I'm thinking this morning. This is what I'm wondering about. And CTM's amazing because Jesse's been talking to Ted, and Jesse's been very, adamant for a long time. He's looking and waiting for that possible. No one could predict the future. He's looking for that capitulation event, that occurs mid-cycle normally in order to us to get to start recovering and put the next leg up. And then Ted and Jesse talking together, putting together the pieces. And this Sunday, we have a couple of big events coming up next week. One of them is Jack Dorsey and Elon Musk sitting down with Cathie Wood of ARK Investments to talk about why Bitcoin incentivizes clean energy. Is it possible the narrative changes then? We talked about that a couple of weeks ago, and the possibility, we don't know, is that walking away from that conversation, Elon takes a big U-turn on Bitcoin, and he's like, oh yeah, you know what? Tesla's not doing so well. My Bitcoin holdings are a little, maybe even a little underwater right now. I better talk this thing up. Bitcoin is green. Bitcoin incentivizes green energy. I see the light. Would that really drastically help the FUD, the Bitcoin narrative? Absolutely. Could right before it, Jesse or Ted pointing out, Grayscale's unlocking is this Sunday. Is it possible that the market reaction is on Monday or Tuesday? And could that possibly be a capitulation type event that we saw around 2017 bull market run? This is the 2013 bull market run capitulation events. Is that all possible? Well, yeah, it's possible. I don't know if that happens or not. Obviously, no one could predict the future. There's not, I have no idea when you're timing it down to days like that, if whether or not it's going to happen. We will see. It's great to have the awareness that this could, by the way, FUD is FUD, right? Everyone knows that in Grayscale's perspective, they can't sell the Bitcoin, right? Now, they could sell Bitcoin to meet their management fees, but are they going to be unloading a bunch of Bitcoin? I mean, nothing that I've seen or understand would lead me to believe that that's a possibility, right? Does that mean that the market won't react out of fear? Well, there's a lot of reason to be fearful right now. What is that reason to be fearful right now? Well, Bitcoin is trading right now at about a 6-month low or close to it. We could say in 2020, close to it, right? We could see that price is barely hanging on by a thread. Is that a descending triangle? Sure looks like one to me, And if we lose this area of support, we're coming into it right now. If we lose this area of support, is it possible that price breaks down further? Yeah, and that's a weird thing if that occurs. This is the first time we lose the golden ratio, right? What else would make it different, right? Well, we all know there's some support over here around 25,000, right? We looked at that probably about 6 weeks ago, right? And then, there's obviously more support. But are we coming down to test the previous all-time high on Bitcoin? From the past bear market cycle, from the past 4-year cycle. Listen, I don't know. Is it possible we break down below? I don't think so. At the end of the day, I'm back to here. And I see people are wondering why the dollar's bid right now, right? Look at the ECB. They're flying out of control. They just continue to print and print and print. And it's like a relay race. All these central banks are acting in unison. They act together, Like it is a conspiracy. They act together to control the monetary supply of the world. And it's like they take the baton. And right now the ECB has the baton and they're running. They're running lead, right? But the Fed, they're not far behind. Bank of Japan, they're doing the thing, and we all know that China, they just reverted back, and they started, with that easy monetary policy again. This is signal to me. This has been the signal that we've been the most focused in on over here, and that is the continued expansion of the central bank's balance sheets, along with the continued massive amounts of stimulus coming out of governments. It doesn't look like we're going to see a trend change occur at any time. The last time that it did occur was when they did quantitative tightening, and when they started, quantitative tightening, it was soon thereafter, approximately 18 months, that the system broke, and we had the dollar liquidity crisis, and they had to inject and a massive amount of money. I mean, that could happen again, right? We could have some type of event that would cause, that would cause assets to dump and dump hard. And if that were to occur, yeah, Bitcoin is not immune to that. It would be under pressure. But listen, there's a difference between like short-term pressure, and anytime there's been short-term pressure on Bitcoin, this is a perfect example of a major global crisis right over here. Yeah, but boom, it's like holding a inflated ball underwater. You could only hold it so long, and then it's gonna pop up. So what else is going on over here? If you look at the daily time frame of Bitcoin, it looks rather ugly in the fact that yesterday we made a higher high on the daily, right? And now we're over here getting ready to possibly take out the low of yesterday. That's an ugly price action, right? Is this a time when people look to sell, right? Do you want to sell down over here into support? And until it's broken, it's support, right? When I look at it this way, though, I see that we're coming back towards the end of this channel. We've been following this channel. This is very sideways price action. Or is this a place to lean in and buy? I mean, I think you should be on the sidelines. And by the way, price is going sideways. And by the way, this is when we got on the sidelines. This is exactly when we got on the sidelines. And by the way, this is when like we saw Bitcoin like breaking out. Right now things are unclear. Things remain unclear. People have drastically different views. Anyone that I know that's been on the right side of the market that participated in the upside, they're very clear on where we are, right? A lot of people are extraordinarily bearish. They're talking now and they're feeling it, and the 20,000 incoming. Listen, I never thought, I thought we were only gonna, max drawdown was 40%. We came down 53%. Anything's possible at this particular time. I'm not going to say that the floor is in and that we don't trade lower. I'm also not going to be like, oh yeah, we're dumping. I have no idea what happens next. All I know is that things are unclear. People don't like to hear it. Things are unclear until we break this line over here. And when that happens, I still don't know, right? Could that come all the way into September? Well, you've been hearing that for over a month. You've been hearing that's a possibility. So yeah, it's quite possible nothing has changed. Before, this might be a short session over here because we covered what we needed to cover, but I want to take a look at the markets over here. 200 likes. Oof. Bam. I'm doing my part over here. I got my coffee. I'm showing up. I'm getting up at 5:30 in the morning while fam's on vacation over here to spend my time with you to make sure that CTM all day long. Come on. Let's go ahead and make sure we smash that like button. If the people here live are not helping out, make sure the replay crew standing strong. Please do your work. Let's get this going. S&P 500, what's going on? Yeah, so the salty factor is good though. The salty fact, if I were to be like critical of the past 15 minutes of what we've presented over here, I would say, you know what? It's rock solid and probably the best information you could find across the World Wide Web today if you're looking at the crypto space. But I see, with not too many people in here summer session, and I see, 20 thumbs down. So that's like my salty index, right? And what does that mean? Well, That's like my bullish hopium. That's the only hopium I have right over here. Things technically looking very bearish. There's nothing good about what we're looking at, but nevertheless, we are in a holding pattern. We're in a holding pattern. We're sideways. Best case or most bullish case, if you want like a dose of hopium, for real, is Jesse's like, I don't want to say prediction, but I want to say Jesse's thought, Jesse's idea that we see some capitulation. Because if we do see capitulation, right, and it's again that mid-cycle capitulation, that's probably the most hopium, like the dose of hopium you could get today, is that we do see that capitulation. Because if we do see that capitulation and we see that quick recovery, then at that point, I'd feel a lot more comfortable saying, well, while things are still unclear until we break the most important trend line in crypto, it looks like we're coming in to test that resistance from there. And that's going to be pretty hard and pretty quick. We'll see. I don't know if we get it or not. Is it possible that this continues to be a rounding bottom and that we, come up like that? Yeah, that's possible. No one has the oracle here. That's the truth. No one has the oracle. Let's take a look at the markets. I want to jump over to the S&P 500, still maintaining its bullish structure very well above this last bit of resistance, broken into and confirmed into support. Right? It's just barely off the all-time high. The Nasdaq, I'm seeing on the daily lots of wicks up here. Is that concerning to anyone over there? Is it, by the way, the Nasdaq also, like, this is a confluence of support and breaking down over there. I do believe that we could see a quick and hard correction. We've been doing very good in maintaining the positions. When I say the positions, I'm looking at the last two, corrections and repairs that CTM looked at taking positions out of, and then holding them through the nonsense, I'll call this. This is when this is 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago at the FOMC, and people told us that the markets were going to crash. It was all over the place. Markets are crashing. We did a good job holding on to for a lot of upside, by the way. A lot of upside. What is that? Another 6% on the Nasdaq. Hey, in a good year in the past, that was a good year right there. But we could be breaking down. Keep an eye on this, everyone, if you're in this, and watch if we break below these trend lines, these confluence of support. Yields, when I think of the Nasdaq, I think of yields. What happened is yesterday we were looking at yields, during the New York session, coming back above this line of resistance. This was support for so long, and then it broke down over here. That broken support should be resistance. We're trading back above it, and then we open up way down over here back again. So that looks like a breakdown, a retest, and a resumption down. Need to take out the swing low for a continued trend, right? Is it still fuzzy? It's got a strong bearish tint to there for sure for sizzles. What about oil? Let me jump down to the 8-hour over here. We haven't looked in this in a minute. We had our trend line over here. We broke down from it. We came in for a retest, started resuming off that, came in for another retest, and are since resuming on hard. It's definitely oil has turned. I don't want to call it bearish as it's in a massive uptrend, but technically the bullish structure has broken down right now, and we are now consolidating. What would constitute further downside, right? Let's take a look at that. I think what I would do is join a Giles line over here right now, and I'm just gonna go ahead and clone that and bring this down, right? And I'm gonna look down for the support over there. So in this area over here is where at that point I would be looking to lean in. Look at that horizontal support as well in that area, in this zone over here. Just waiting right now to see if we get further downside. And of course, always, if we come out of the repair sooner, then it's time to attack. What about gold and silver? Let's start with silver since we were looking for an entry yesterday. And silver broke outside of this trend line, putting in a repair, right? Came in for a retest and is resuming up, giving an entry up over here. Since then, spiking down again and holding that line. So it's really good. Why does that's really good? Well, because you can really manage your risk really well. right? Where's your stop loss if you're taking this trade, right? Is it below the support, And if it's below the support, what type of risk reward are you looking at to the upside, right? Let's just take a look. Like, just eyeballing it, 1, 2, 2.25 risk reward coming into the resistance. And that's not where you take your profit, your full profit. For sure, that's where you tighten up your trade, maybe take a little off the table. So that's attractive, that's safe. What about tighter? Could we go even tighter to this last little bit of low that was put in a couple of days ago down over there? Because if we trade back below that trend line, that's not looking good. It looks like it could possibly failing. Could we come down a little bit lower? Do you want it so tight, or do you want it below the support? Do you want to know when you're really wrong, or do you want to try to be aggressive? And if you get stopped out, it's the same risk. It's the same risk wherever you put your stop. People are concerned always about their profit. Always be concerned about first your risk and your position size. Two different options. What about on gold? Let's take a look over here. Gold is lagging a little bit. However, look at that. That's pretty nice. It took out that horizontal resistance and is now above it. Let's change that over to green, coming in after the break of that horizontal resistance, coming in for the retest. Do you pick some up, or is it time to be aggressive on gold where you want to try to trade this thing? Like, like fast forward to when we do break the most important trend line in crypto and Bitcoin has got momentum out of it. Like, that's the time to be looking for these type of setups. Is this the time on gold? Is gold currently in a bull market? Is gold kind of like, when I see gold, I see like, I see breakout and then retest and trying to resume up again. That's gold actually looks pretty okay, but obviously, you know what? That's not where the momentum is right now. We'll continue tracking her. And what else do we got? Ethereum's under pressure, right? Ethereum's under pressure. Did it take out that low from the day before? Nope, it's not. And then we have this like little trend line over here, this little trend line over there, and listen, with everyone very clear that we're looking at the summer doldrums, that people are becoming fatigued from the sideways price action. People are capitulating mentally. You're seeing some pretty frothy calls to the downside now. When I say pretty frothy, like, are people calling lower than 20,000? I don't know, but you're seeing aggressive calls to the downside. We're seeing lots of I listen, I don't even know what point I was trying to make. You gotta laugh a little, right? What I want to do over here, I want to keep the session short because we're gonna do in 1 hour, exactly 1 hour from now, we're gonna have our FX training session. I'll make sure in the announcements channel and by email to let you all know where that link is. If Ethereum is able to break above this trend line over there, let's watch. Let's see if Ethereum runs against Bitcoin. At this particular time, I don't know. If I looked at what happened last cycle, this particular time, we see this continued slow move, where Bitcoin continues to outperform against Ethereum. And you're seeing that series of lower highs being put in, right? And that's what continues until we get to, like, after the capitulation event. I'm trying to find that over here. Like, after the capitulation event, in this area over here, like, we have this 60-day window where Ethereum and Bitcoin kind of like, they didn't do much versus each other, with Bitcoin slightly having the edge until we got to this area over here. And then Bitcoin ran hard versus Ethereum, very hard, up until the last 30 days or 3 weeks, where then we saw the second alt season. You have to be aware that could happen again, or being that we're in a more mature cycle, we might continue to see Ethereum outperforming. We're watching for both, but if we're looking, or if I'm looking to see if Ethereum is going to run versus Bitcoin, right? Then we got, there it is. Let me like make that pretty. Let me find that. And if I clone that and that fits on the upside, then I know I'm good. Let me see. Am I trying to make that work, or does that work? Either way, if the market's going to prove itself to me to the upside, it's getting above here. And at that point, once the market's able to break above that, then I'll be like, all right, Ethereum has the advantage at this particular point. But no, that's not what we're looking at. This is when we called the Ethereum. We did it very well on the chart, on the Ethereum chart, as it was happening down over here, right? Now, anyway, that's that. I hope you all see it. I want to play some honeymoon vocals, check in with all of you, because you all are very important to me. I like to I want to make sure. That's why I'm here with my coffee this morning for all of you. So this one's dedicated not to the silent majority. This one's dedicated to all of you. CTM, strong all day long. All right, thank you, my brother. Thank you so much. Boom, Martin. Boom, 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 boom. Jason, I started looking at it this morning. I got sidetracked. Let's jump in over here. The gold to Bitcoin ratio, right? And man, all right, this is where it was. We're back to where we were. It was in this area right over here, right? It was right there where we initiated and talked about those short positions, right? And you know what? Like this is probably the thing that I least expected to occur. This is a massive retrace of that, and you can see that's holding pretty well. We've tested it a couple of times. It's held a couple of, but I did not expect the magnitude of this correction. I did not. Well, of course I did. I didn't expect the 53% drawdown on Bitcoin either, right? And so the question is right now, is this a good place to set up a trade and time this over there? Look, we said it from the whole time and from the very beginning. This trade is all about Bitcoin and dependent on Bitcoin. Now, if Bitcoin dumps further, and obviously you all know where I stand, and I'm very clear and transparent about my beliefs and where we are and what's going to happen. But anything could happen, and if Bitcoin does break down hard, there's no question this comes up. You have to wait for the signal. And is this a good time right now as prices retraced all the way back into that strong resistance? Peaked in it, spiked into it twice. Now you know where you're wrong, and you're wrong all day long, but you have to wait for the signal. And if you break down over there, then that looks like an opportunity. Because if that happens, and it's not like if Bitcoin's not only going to take out the all-time high at $64,500, right? I believe it goes a massive mania move, right? And what happens over here? Does this low hold over here? We go lower, Thanks for bringing that up, because I really wanted to look at gold Bitcoin. This was the perfect opportunity, the perfect time. Let me just keep this line in over here. This is the line right there. That's the attack line. Bitcoin did it take out the low? Interesting price action here, right? Very bearish, by the way, near-term price action today when you're seeing the daily high taken out to the upside and then price resume off and engulf to the downside. There's not, right? Now, could this get traders from both sides today? Yeah. If you take out the stops on the upside from the shorts, right, get a lot of longs trapped, and then longs getting taken out right over here now because they put their stop loss on the BAM, and this thing takes out stops on both sides. Well, that's clearing the noise near term. That could be, anyway. That's it, my friends. I'll see you all in about 55 minutes as we take a look at FX, tight and strong. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. I'm going to finish some honeymoon, though. I'm going to make sure I get my tunes. This is an interesting on-chain metric, right? This was put out by William, and I'm not exactly sure how they're doing it, but what we're looking at is on the bottom, you're looking at the holders of last resort, right? And what are holders of last resort? You all remember the once great Trace Mayer, right? And he talked about there are a certain subset of Bitcoiners who are called hodlers of last resort, meaning no matter what happens, they're not selling their Bitcoin. There's a massive floor inside Bitcoin, right? And I'm one of them. I'm raising my hand strong. I am a hodler. Do I not have voice? I got voice. Oh, I can't imagine why people are smashing the thumbs down, but that's okay. You are free to vote, and I encourage you, for any reason, if you want to smash that thumbs down, to go ahead and light that up right now, because lots of love, that really helps the interaction as far as the algorithm's concerned, and you are really helping the channel. So go ahead and let them fly. If that's who you are, let it be known. We want to know. We want to know what's inside you. So anyway, hodlers of last resort, I'm raising my hand strong. I am one of them. When it comes to my spot Bitcoin, my stop loss is 0, I mean it. I'm a hodler of last resort. Now, of course, I've done my research. I know where there are resting orders. I know Adam Back has enough orders in for the supply of Bitcoin that Bitcoin literally can't go to 0. Nevertheless, crazy things have happened in this world. Is it possible we have an EMP attack that takes out the internet? Anything's possible. Anything's possible. I'm ready for it. I'm holding strong. I'm not selling. You're seeing not only that, I don't know how they get this data on chain to find out who's Mr. Ashley, by the way. Do you ever hear this song? Mr. Ashley, we go, where is it? Oh, here we go. Never gonna give you up. I would sing for you, but I'm not. But Rick Ashley, never gonna give you up. Go ahead and play it. So listen, they're accumulating, and I know that's what I'm doing as well, right? Because you all know that I bought the dip. Mid-cycle. Price came off 50%. I twice so far have made purchases, $39,500 or $39,000 and $33,500. I'm not trying to time it. I'm dollar cost averaging. It brought my average cost up from just about 9,000 to just about 9,500. But it was time to add. Well, Jordan, I didn't know about your channel back then. I didn't know about the bullish case for Bitcoin, and I don't have the same cost basis as you. All right. Well, understand, either, follow someone to consult their opinion, make up your own mind, who has been on the right side of this trade ever since right over here, calling the bottom, then calling the move up. By the way, I was watching, Ted sent me over something yesterday, and I was watching about whether it's real or not, take everything with a grain of salt. Someone talking about calling the top here and over there. That's something I would like to know more about. That's not something that I was trying to do. That same signal did not come in over here, interestingly. All right, but either which way, right? Listen, if you're just starting and you started over here and you started, made your first purchase over here, you bought your first fraction of a Bitcoin, why did you do that? And what was your plan? Did you think that you were going to hold Bitcoin for, 2 weeks and sell your Bitcoin? Was that your plan? And if that was your plan, Well, clearly with that type of time preference, you had to stop in somewhere, very close to market, right? Or were you like, you know what? I see the bullish case for Bitcoin. What does that mean? I understand all fiat's being devalued, that this current system's unsustainable, right? I know that when I go to the grocery store, things are more expensive and the boxes are smaller than they were even a year ago. I'm not an idiot. My rent's rising. Housing prices around me are unaffordable. I can't even buy a used car anymore because they cost more than a new car. Something's not right, right? And I'm going to keep dollar cost averaging in the Bitcoin, right? And my time horizon, right? Well, Jordan's talking about his time horizon. You remember Jordan's talking about, this is a long-term investment where he's looking at the next 3 halving cycles, the next 12 years. Man, what the heck? I'm looking at the next 12 days. This guy's looking at what happens over the next 12 years. I'm getting riddled up over here. I'm going back and forth like a ball being bounced, and I'm getting chopped up. This guy's got like laser eyes on his profile, and his time preference is way different. By the way, this is now 11 years, and this is now only 2 halving cycles, right? And eventually, what's going to happen, soon we're going to be looking at 8 years and 1 halving cycle, because that time's going to pass. It's already in motion. That you can't stop the time. And what's going to happen to you? What's Bitcoin going to be as I check off another halving, and then I check off another halving, and you're going to be like, oh man, I sold my Bitcoin at 30,000, or are you buying the dip over here? That's the only perspective you need today. Now, when it gets down to it and it's time to start riding this bull over here, because the bull is not bucking at all right now, but the bull will be bucking again, and it's only a matter of time. And when that happens, imagine the clarity that people can't even take it. Things are not clear. I don't know what's going on. Get neutral. Boom. Price. Things are still unclear. Things are still unclear. Things are still unclear. Price has done nothing. Price has gone sideways for 2 months. Things are unclear. Jordan, when do they get clear? When we break this line? Oh, but no, I'm buying the dip. No, I'm selling the rip. Blah, blah, blah. That's all noise. Once we break out over here, then it's going to be time to conquer the markets all day long. And for me, I'm going to get back in there, and I'm going to be taking what I can out of the market, because although it's been nice to the upside on my spot positions, to the upside, drastically the profits made through trading, when I said, all right, lights are on, bull market breakout, retest, resumption, it's on, right? The profit made over here was much greater than that spot position. And that time is going to be there again, right? For those that are ready, right? And when you're ready, you gotta, it's the summer. We're going sideways. Did I take off the photo? It was a great photo that Sinjit put out this morning. All right, everyone. I just went on a little bit longer than I planned. I'll see the rest of you all in a little bit as we go live on FX. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Thank you for spreading all of the love that you do, the good vibes, the positivity. I'm grateful for all of you, and I'm going to finish honeymoon right here. TJ, you've been around forever, so I don't want there to be any confusion. When you say you prefer the original strategy of selling at cycle peak, that's the plan, right? Now, TJ, I do have multiple strategies that I deploy, right? So, if I decide through one of these strategies that, they're talking now about the whole tax thing again. That's the chatter over in DC. We don't know what that looks like. that's going to play a little bit of a part of it for myself, depending on what prices we're looking at on the upside. I haven't made up my mind exactly what's going to be happening, and it largely depends on price. I mean, is it possible? Well, I don't even go there right now. But TJ, that's the plan. That's the plan. We just talked about that yesterday. Team O'Donnell talking about, hey, listen, I think it's time to go back to basics over here. It looks like the pi cycle is going to be one of the indicators to consult at this cycle peak over here. We're all looking to catch the top here, TJ. 100% about it. Now, does it make sense for certain strategies never to sell your Bitcoin and only borrow against that Bitcoin during bear market lows? Yeah, it does. But you have to figure out what's best for you and why. You got a lot to think about, and we'll talk about it as we get closer. Right now, we're focused on what's happening here and making sure that everyone has that mental edge. That's the strongest edge that you need, because people out there out on the web, out on crypto Twitter, like, the loud and the toxic are strong, and people get easily swayed and influenced. We want to make sure that here we're able to keep our blinders on and keep focused on signal. All right, everyone. That's it. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. I'll see. Thank you all. Thank you all for the massive likes. 547 likes here today. That's really beautiful. Han, I'm jumping in on conversations. I don't know what you're talking about. Lies, lie. I don't know who you're responding to. And if you're responding to me, brother, the free world has got you shook. That's okay though. That's okay. Heads up, if you're not following, misconfig on Twitter, you're doing it wrong. So much good information all the time. Make sure you're doing that. Tom, in the perspective of things, we're still so early, it's ridiculous. And who do you see say that? I've heard the Winklevoss brothers say that. And you know what? Follow those who have a history of being on the right side of the trade. Those guys are on the right side for the longest. Oh, they got 1% of the supply. Who cares? You imagine the risk they took when they did it? They just saw it early. They were able to see it. They understood it, and they took the risk. But the risk that you're taking today is substantially less than the one that they took, right? The odds are more in your favor of this thing catching on, and you might as well get some just in case it does. There you go, Trish. Trish is strong. Still buying the dip. Still dollar cost averaging in. Love it all. All right, everyone. Take care. I'll talk to you soon. Boom. Boom. But that's true. Rod. And listen, there are those of you, who might just want to set an alert on this trend line and be like, all right, wake me up when that thing triggers, and hey, that's good. That's good. But there are things to watch out for. And the reason that I have to keep my pulse on the markets is because the markets together, they're this living organism that continues to price in information every moment of every day. There's a lot of moving pieces, and it's all fragile. It's all very fragile. They could lose control either way. They could lose control, and this thing could turn out hyperinflationary. In that case, Bitcoin becomes hyper-Bitcoinization. That's my belief. Or they could lose control the other way, and we could see a massive deflationary move that wipes out a ton of assets across the board, right? I need to make sure that I stay with my finger on the pulse of the market at all times. You don't get lucky. There's no way that since this YouTube channel's been around, and we've been doing what we do here for a little over a year and a half now, since late October 2019, and have the massive record of being on the right side of so many different asset classes and markets without being, this dialed in. However, at this particular moment right now, it kind of feels like I'm in the eye of a hurricane. And when you're in the eye of a hurricane, things start settling down and get very still. And the thing is you never know how much time it's going to take you to hit the other side and exit the eye of the hurricane. But as soon as you do, man, that wind picks up quick and things get really hectic, So that's why I'm doing what I do here with all of you. All right, everyone. All right, friends and family. I'll talk to you later. Have a beautiful day.